Hey, I just got done watching a video by Mr. Good and Kinky. I believe it was called A Moral Dilemma for Christians. Good video. Makes some very good points. I love the calendar in the background. Oh yeah, free spirit. Anyway, it got me thinking. Just you know, the thing that I have a hard time with about both Christianity and Islam is they both have the fingerprints of men all over them. You know, they're both from the Middle East, or they're both offshoots of Judaism, and you can just, in both cases, I could totally see, you know, a group of guys. They managed to get away from the house, and they're nagging wives to meet up. Okay, well, we're gonna, you know, let's start a religion. Okay, now of course it didn't happen exactly like this, but I'm thinking there was a point where they were sitting down and they were trying to think of the basics. Okay, what do we want our religion to accomplish? No women in the room, all men. Make our wives fucking shut up. Might be one of the first things out of somebody's mouth. And then, of course, there'd be a round of laughter, ha ha ha, back thumping, whatever. And then, yeah, that's not such a bad idea, is it? Well, how do we do that? Well, you know, that's like, that would be a really high priority. That would be like one of the highest priorities, is making women be inferior, submissive, needing to be submissive, the man gets to rule over the woman. That would be a huge priority, and it would be God's will. So there's no way the woman could complain or protest about it, because it's God's will. It's how nature made women, because rather, that's how God made women. God himself made women to be inferior to men, so women, of course, would have no choice but to submit, because, you know, God says it's the way it's supposed to be. So hey, I can totally see that, you know. And then they have to come up with, okay, well, what caused the woman to, you know, well, then it goes back to the law, the Old Testament. The story of Adam and Eve, which, you know, it's like, I'm not all-knowing. I'm not all-powerful, obviously. But it's like, okay, if I were going to make a perfect creation, I would make it perfect. Okay, let's see. What story? Imagine you're a bunch of men making up a story, and you have to, the story. And now we're not talking about the Islam or Christian, the starting of those two religions, but I'm talking about the Jewish religion. Okay. If you're going to make a story about creation and about all the stuff that happens, you know, it's like, okay, if God is perfect and he's all-knowing, and you were literally going to follow that to the letter and everything, you can't have imperfection come from perfection. That's not possible, right? How can imperfection come from something that's perfect? If that is to happen, then you have to know that the thing that you think is perfect is imperfect, because if perfection can create imperfection, then perfection is not perfection. Okay, so, and yet we're trying to establish that we have a perfect God, absolutely perfect. Everything he does, everything he thinks, everything he says is absolutely perfect and divine and whatever. And he's all-knowing, literally all-knowing, all-powerful. There's nothing he can't do. Somebody wrote under Mr. Good and Kinky's video that humans' blood sacrifice is necessary for the forgiveness of sins, and he put in parentheses, there is no other way. It's like, okay, if God is all-powerful, then, and if there's no other way, then God isn't all-powerful. He has limitations. If there's only one way to appease God, he has limitations. Is God unlimited or not? Is he all-powerful or not? If he was all-powerful, then there would be other ways. He could decide, okay, I don't need to have blood sacrifices. I don't need to have people grovel and have this sin of my imperfect creation that I made because I wanted my creation to be imperfect for some bizarre reason, to grovel for the rest of their lives. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to, okay, we're just going to say, you humans are off the hook from the burden of sin that you inherited from people you had absolutely no, So you have a perfect being making imperfection. He's all-knowing, so he has to know that he's making imperfection. He puts these imperfect beings in close proximity to Satan, knowing, because he's all-knowing, knowing what will happen. And then he turns his back for a little while, not looking, I'm not watching, la 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 la. Turns around, oh, why are you hiding? It's like, and then it's the woman's fault, of course, and that all makes it justifiable that the woman is under the man's heel for all time. So I don't know why people, I think part of the reason that people were discouraged in the olden days from reading the Bible, and from reading in general, and just looking up at the stars, is because they didn't want ordinary people to know too much about what it was that they believed in. They just wanted people to be trusting little sheep, nodding their heads and taking whatever they said, hook, line, and sinker. And now we have, now you can look at these stories and go, where are the fallacies of the story? It's just like when you go see a movie and then you walk out of the movie theater and you start picking the movie apart. Well, that doesn't make sense, does it? Well, they left that loose end, didn't they? I'm trying to think of a good example, and I'm drawing a complete blank. Oh, here's a great example. Actually, I'm a huge horse lover. I love horse movies. I love anything to do with horses. I saw the movie War Horse, and I wanted to throw up. I don't own that movie. You would think, oh my gosh, it's got horses. I don't own that movie. I thought that movie was garbage. Utter and complete garbage. Visually had some nice qualities, but that's about it. And I watched out of the theater and I tore it apart. Okay, why are the poor peasants dressed in perfect clothes? How could a little tiny whatever thoroughbred or whatever that was plow a field? It rains a little and suddenly it's plowing the field. And if you look at the horse while he's plowing the field, he's not even hunched against the traces. He's not throwing his weight into the collar, using his weight to try to pull the plow. He is just walking like he's being ridden by somebody. I mean, just all the way through that movie there were things that were just so stupid. As somebody who knows a little bit about horses, I could not really enjoy that movie. So that's just it. You walk out of a movie and the things that are glaringly wrong with it kind of ruin the whole thing, At least that's what happens for me. Well, to me the same is true with the Bible. If you really look at the stories, if you look at the logic, okay, Jesus, before he came to earth, and it was Jesus in flesh, Jesus was God. Jesus was if you believe in the Trinity, Jesus was Lord. As I said in a previous video, anytime in the Old Testament it refers to, this is what I was taught, it refers to God as Lord, not just God, but Lord. That's Jesus. So he's walking around. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's the Lord who's in the clouds leading the Egyptians, or rather leading the Israelites away from Egypt. And I'm pretty sure it's the Lord who makes everything at the start of the Bible. So, Jesus basically has a hand in it from the very, very, very beginning. Oh, but we're supposed to accept that God, that was different. The Old Testament was different. Jesus came in the New Testament. He changed everything. He didn't just come. He was there the whole time, and he condoned everything that happened in the Old Testament. He was part of it. He had a hand in it. And we're not, I'm sorry, but that's just hugely illogical. And the whole thing is illogical. And what Mr. Good and Kinky said at the end, that, well, through the whole video that he did, the whole thing is illogical, that good, caring, kind, compassionate people would want to worship the God that's depicted in the Bible. They come up with this diluted version, or this, yeah, I guess diluted's the right word, watered down idea of what God is, and they throw a little extra sugar in the mix and stir it up, and now suddenly God is nice and sweet and loving and compassionate, and then they totally ignore what's in their own holy book, which is the foundation of the religion. They ignore that God, which that is what their whole religion is founded on and based on, is the biblical God. And they don't even look at how their book describes him and Jesus too, before he came to earth. So okay, I need to go. I need to catch a bus and go to work. Thank God it's Friday. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say that? TGIF, thank goodness it's Friday. So anyway, thanks for listening. If you have, bye.